Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to another segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. Our recitation continues with the eighth pauri from Asa Ki War, composition of Guru Nanak, that appears on page 462 of the Guru Granth Sahib Ji. This is the eighth pauri or step and has two associated sloks with it, as is the structure of the entire Bani. It has associated sloks. So we will recite the sloks first and then on to the pauri, one line at a time. Slok Mahalla Pehla Purakhan Birakhan Tirathan Megha Khetahan. Purakhan, people, ancestors, if you will, humanity. Birkha, trees, vegetation. Tirtha, places of pilgrimage. Tata, riverbanks. Megha, the clouds above. Kheta, the fields, agriculture. So Babaji is weaving together elements of nature, elements of humanity, is taking a very interconnected view, a holistic view, if you will, of reality. He continues on, the lamps, Deepa, Loa, Mandala, Khanda, Varpanda. Here he's now talking about the expanse of the universe, which has the sun and the moon as lamps, the stars, the planets, the galaxies. Then he speaks about the sources of procreation. Andaj, Jeraj, Utpaja, Khani, Set, Jahan. So, Andaj, these are oviparous creatures born from eggs, like birds and reptiles. Jeraj, born from the womb, especially mammals. Utpaja, sweat. Now, this is a traditional classification used in ancient texts to suggest life that arises spontaneously, often insects, fleas, and so on. And then, of course, Khani, from the earth, life forms originating directly from the soil and the plants. So having listed out all of these elements, the Guru says, O Nanak, only that one alone knows the measure of its expanse. So mit jane Nanaka, sara mera janta, whether it is land, water, space, only that one knows, and only that one, in other words, it is its own measure. We have no inkling as to how large this expanse is. So we live in a kind of a mystery. And that is a feeling that Guru Nanak brings out. And then he continues to say, Nanak jant upay ke, having created beings, sentient beings, samale sabna, he takes care. Jin karta karna kiya, chinta bhi karni taha. The one who caused creation is also concerned about it. Chinta, to keep in the mind. It is not oblivious to us. So karta chinta kare, jin upaya jag. The one who brought forth its creation always contemplates and cares for its creation. This Johari, I submit to that one. My salutations are to that one. Swastatis, glory be unto that Creator. He is the Guru in adoration. Swastatis, tis diban abag, a descriptor. That one whose creation, Divan, whose court, he calls it his court, is apag, is not fragmented, is a unified whole. Nanak sache naam bin kya tikka kya tag. So now here's the clincher. Guruji says, without the wisdom of the self, naam bin, without virtue, what is the significance of ceremonial marks and sacred threads? Now here he's taking a direct aim at the practice of wearing caste marks and the Hindu custom of wearing a thread to again suggest your caste or to suggest that you are an upper caste. So the Guru is actually pointing to those things. We can conclude for ourselves exactly what he is saying, but I guess it's pretty clear. Now that is the setting of the first salok. Now we come to the second salok, which is again Mahalla Pehla, a composition of Guru Nanak. Lakh nekiyan changiyan, lakh punna parvan. Now if you recall, the last line of the first slok was Kya tikka kya tag. We see how Guru Nanak is making the transition from the elements now to social rules and customs and so on. And now he's getting deeper into it. He says, look, there are 1,000, lakh, 100,000 to indicate it's hyperbole to emphasize great numbers. It's not exactly, he doesn't mean exactly luck in the sense of 100,000, but that's what luck means. So large numbers, multitudes, nekiya. There are many deeds and actions. Lakapunna, Parvan, sanctioned by religious authorities. So he's saying people do things that are sanctioned by religious authorities. This is bad, that is good, do this, do that, especially in a religious context. Lakh tap upar tirathan, sahaj jog beban, again, practices, religious practices. Thousands of austerities, different kinds are performed. Thousands of pilgrimages undertaken, different methods of yoga, Sahaj Yoga being one of them, Bevan, practiced in the forests. And then he also talks about Lakh Surtan Sangaram, Ranve Chute Paran, hundreds and thousands of warriors who fight in battle, trying to serve a purpose and die there. By the way, this can also be read as to the battle of the mind. Lakh surti gyan dhyan padiyah paath puran. Lakh surti, consciousness, meaning people engaged in meditation to control their consciousness. Many, he says, are immersed in the pursuit of knowledge. Lakh gyan dhyan. And then there are many, Padya Paath Puran, who study the scriptures. So he's now listing out, just like he listed out nature, he's now listing out religious habits. And then he says, in conclusion, Jin karte karna kiya likhya avan jaan. But, he says, it is the Creator that has determined the origin and will decide the end of creation. So no amount of ritual, no amount of scriptural study is going to give you the measure of this expanse. Remember, we began with saying the Creator is its own measure. So here he's emphasizing that point, but the clincher is in the concluding line where he says, Nanak mati mithya karma sacha nisan. And this is a very significant line. Nanak mati mithya. Mati is of the mind, noetic, conceptualized belief system. And the Guru is saying, Nanak mati mithya. All mental constructs, estimates, measures to size the Creator are inadequate. In other words, he's pointing at belief systems. He says they are man-made fiction. Nanak mati mithya. Mithya is manufactured fiction. Karam sacha nisan. Sacha nisan. Nisan is an enabler, a symbol, a pointer. Where do you get a sense of this creator? Where is the sacha enabler? It is karam. Karam here, karam is usually translated as grace, but here it has the ankar vowel under mama, which would suggest that this karam here is meant to be hukam. Karam sacha nisan. So if you recall, the Asa Ki War so far has talked about nature. Within nature, that we are parts of nature, and within nature lies its own knowledge. So the Gur, the enlightened source, is within us. We need to make a connection with our nature inside and find its connection outside. So the Guru is saying that Nanak mati mithya, all man-made religions are false, are fictitious. Karma sacha nisan. So the world around you, the natural order, is indeed where we have to look to understand the Creator. So now I think we need to take our cue not from formal religious systems, which are merely fossilized beliefs, but you have to take your cue from nature around you. You have to harmonize yourself. Hukam rajai chalana, Nanak likhya naal. So one would have to ask the question, what have we done with Guru Nanak's message? We have converted it into a fossilized belief system. Think about it. And then the Pauri, which is the heart of the matter, he says, Sacha Sahib ek tu. I'll read it out completely first. Sacha Sahib ek tu, jin sacho sach vartaya. Jis tu de tis mile sach, ta tinhi sach kamaya. Satgur miliye sach paya, jinh ke hirde sach vasaya. मूर्ख सच न जाननी मन मुखी जन्म गवाया विच दुनिया काहे आया सच्चा साहिब एक तू. So pointing to the Creator, you alone are in fact the perpetual one. You are the one who has created this expanse, and to whom you give this discernment, they discover or experience you. They get a sense, they get this intuition about you. In other words, they come to know you. And that comes through the Satguru. Satguru, miliye sach paya, goes back to the very first pauri. Balehare Satguru, balehare gur apane. Right? Devhari Sadhwa again. And then, of course, at last, he says, Murkh Sach na janani. So those who are engaged in religious ritual are really fools, murkhs, according to Guru Nanak, because they can never find the truth. Sach na janani. Manamukhi, and in their insistence, in their foolish methods, they waste their life away. Which dunya kahe aaya? What is the point of your having come to this world? Guru Nanak leaves us with that question. So if you are really hung up on your religious beliefs or attaching yourself to what is being preached around you, give it a second thought. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.